If you're here waiting for the baseball game, you're in the wrong place. We do have, we're going to start as a subcommittee. I do want to announce that there are a number of bills that have kind of moved along, and so if you're here for those bills, you can leave, and if there is a ball game on and you've got the time, feel free to watch it. If, however, you're not one of the lucky folks, we have, I believe, about now 13 bills that we'll be hearing. Item 11, SB 1177 by Senator Galgiani has been pulled due to amendments that take it out of our jurisdiction. So item 11, SB 1177 will not be heard. We also have one bill that has been pulled at the author's request. Item 14, SB 1253 by my colleague Senator Morlock. That bill has been pulled, will not be heard today. And we have 7 items on the proposed consent calendar. Item 1, SB 820 by Senator Hertzberg. Item 3, SB 980 by Senator Nielsen with amendments. Item 6, SB 1040 by Senator Hill with amendments. Item 12, SB 1179 by Senator Vidak with amendments. Item 13, SB 1201 by Senator Mitchell. Item 19, SB 1442 by Senator Liu with amendments. And file item 20, SB 1443 by Senator Galgiani with amendments. So if you're here on any of those bills, they will be on the consent calendar. And given that we do not have a quorum, we'll go ahead and we will start as a subcommittee. We have our first author here, Senator Nielsen, to hear file item 2, SB 950. The rules here are we allow 2 witnesses for each side, 2 minutes each, and then those in support will be allowed to come to the microphone, give their name, affiliation, and position in support of the measure. Then we will give 2 minutes each to 2 witnesses in opposition, and then the opposition, the remainder of opposition, will be able to come up, give their name, affiliation, and indicate their opposition to the measure. We will then have discussion and hopefully be out of here at a reasonable hour, and like last night when we got through with business and professions at 7 o'clock. So we're hoping not to do that today. With that, Senator Nielsen, welcome and thank you for being prompt, and please proceed.
Chairwoman Jackson and Senator Monty Morlock, thank you for the opportunity to present to the committee Senate Bill 950. This creates the Excluded Employee Arbitration Act. For a number of years, I was able to be chair of a state agency, a very difficult job, probably the most difficult I'll ever have, and therefore I got to deal extensively with both represented and excluded employees. This tries to bring, I think, fairness to the excluded employees. It would improve the grievance process for the excluded employees, making it, I think, more effective. It allows the opportunity for excluded employees to request binding arbitration in cases where these conditions have been met. The excluded employee would have filed a Title II Code of Regulations grievance with CalHR. That the grievance had not been satisfactorily resolved at least of the 4 levels of review currently in place. These are the talking stages where things are discussed, hopefully dealt with, but in this case, they would not have been. Binding arbitration would be the ruling that resolves an excluded employee grievance at the 5th level of the process. It would require a process where the HR and the employee agree on one arbitrator, and this is not unique in government. It requires that the arbitrator issue a legally binding decision within 45 days. The grievance is to be heard in the arbitration. And it provides for the non-prevailing party to pay the cost of the arbitration. This is kind of the mechanism that ensures that there is action, not talking. The talking will have already occurred. I want to thank the committee staff for working with us to improve the bill. Working with the committee, I would pledge to the committee, because it had been determined that we would not make the committee an amendment here today, although I'm happy to do that. I always like to make amendments in the committee at hand, but rather that we would make such committee amendment in the next committee. I'd accept the offered amendment that, and it's on page 8, comment 4, it codifies a prohibition of the excluded employee organization from passing on any associated cost of the arbitration to its members. That's, I think, an important discipline. I think it makes sense, and I would accept that amendment or pledge to the committee to do that amendment in the next committee.
And that would be the Appropriations Committee, if it does
Correct,
pass.
in the Appropriations Committee.
Thank you, sir.
And that would likely occur on suspense, and I have Mr. John Lovell here to testify in support.
Thank you. Mr. Lovell, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. John Lovell, I'm the advocate for the California Correctional Supervisors Organization, and I have with me Ford Canutt from the organization, who has deep expertise in this area. I also represent the other 8 law enforcement groups who are supporting the bill. The current system is broken. What happens is that employees file a grievance, they get through the process, and because they're excluded employees, they get to the very top and they're told no. And then what happens if the grievance is of sufficient moment? The organization representing the excluded employee goes to court. And so we go through a litigious process, which is in and of itself expensive. This bill fixes that. It provides for binding grievance arbitration for excluded employees, and it provides that the non-prevailing party will have to bear the costs. We believe that that provision is something that will force the parties to take a look at, rather than just say no, to take a look at, let's try and resolve this grievance. Sometimes a little bit of history is worth a lot of argument. Years ago, I was chief counsel to the LA City Attorney, an organization that I think your family's familiar with. I remember there was a lawyer in our employee relations division who came in to see me about an issue involving one of the employee organizations at the Capitol. He was just obdurate about, we're not going to try and solve this. So finally I said to him, I said, okay, Fred, you go back and you take this position. And if we lose and it costs the city money, you're going to come back in here and explain to me just why it was you were so sure you were right. And that's the same dynamic that will occur here. We will actually solve grievances. We commend Senator Nielsen for introducing this bill, and we commend it to your committee.
Thank you very much. Any other witnesses in support? 2 minutes, please.
Yes, Senator Jackson. My name is Ford Canutt. I'm with the California Correctional Supervisors Organization. I've been working with excluded employee grievances for the past 13 years, and I actually haven't really ever seen a granted grievance out of 1,000 grievances that have come. And you know that state government, what can go wrong will go wrong, and there is some very justifiable grievances that are denied, and most people can't wrap their mind around the fact that they're never granted. Well, it's because there's no consequence and there's no precedent setting situation, so the agencies and Cal HR can avoid all that 90 times out of 100 unless we go to Superior Court, which is very costly. We think that having the arbitration at as a 5th step will get us more objective reviews of our grievances, and fairness will be a little bit more easier to obtain than having to go to Superior Court, and it costs so much less. And we were cognizant of the fact that grievances, arbitrations, normally for rank and file, are quite often abused. And so we wanted to put loser pays so there will be no frivolous arbitrations, as is you'll find in some of the rank and file arbitrations. So I urge you for your aye vote, and this will really help the supervisors and managers resolve problems at our lower level.
Thank you very much. Other witnesses in support?
Madam Chair, members, Ted Toppin for the Association of California State Supervisors, in support for the many reasons already stated, and we thank Senator Nielsen for carrying the bill.
Thank you very much. Are there any other witnesses in support? We have no timely opposition has been filed, but is there anyone with untimely opposition? Good, I'm glad I got you to laugh at that one. All right. With that, are there any questions from my colleague here? I want to say thank you for taking that amendment. I think this is a good measure. I'm kind of curious as to why it was brought previously and didn't pass, but clearly, Senator Nielsen, you were able to work the bill so that it now has no opposition. And as soon as we get a quorum, I'll ask for a motion to move the bill, and we will proceed from there. So unless you would like to close, I think you're ahead on this one.
Madam Chair, I submit the bill for your consideration. I know to shut up when you have the votes.
Very good. Thank you, Senator Nielsen. A lesson that we could all learn, or at least I know I could. Thank you very much, Senator Nielsen. All right. And the third item is on the consent calendar, the Veterans Homes item. So we will move now to Senator Hueso, file item 4, SB 984. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. I'm proud to present SB 984, a bill that makes the pilot program for increased access to responsible small dollar loans permanent. The pilot program has been the result of a heavily negotiated deal between consumer groups and the legislature. It provides various consumer protections, including statutory limitations on fees and cost, minimum loan lengths, income verification and underwriting requirements, and mandatory reporting on loan repayment performance to credit bureaus. Both Consumer Union and the Center for Responsible Lending are neutral on this bill, while other consumer groups like the Western Center for Law and Poverty, Pew Research, and the Greenlining Institute support this bill. Over the last several years, we have seen this program become a major success. It has been particularly successful in my communities, and in particular for the Latino community. The Department of Business Oversight and their 2015 report has shown that this program has taken off and has helped consumers. Lending under the pilot program from 2011 to 2014 increased 83.8%, from $98 million in 2011 to $180 million in 2014. Of the nearly 500,000 loans that were made, over 60% of them were made to individuals of low to moderate incomes. Nearly half of those who took out a loan reported that the purpose was to build or repair their credit. And they did indeed repair their credit. The Department of Business Oversight found that 60% of the borrowers saw an increase in their credit scores. In addition, the average size of the increase of those borrowers increased dramatically from 34 points in 2011 to 355 points in 2014. Those are significant increases in their credit ratings. This product clearly works and has helped thousands of Californians gain access to affordable credit building loans. However, the biggest problem related to this pilot program is that it is set to expire. The program is set to expire in less than 2 years. At this point, having a sunset clause in the pilot hurts the pilot's ability to access the community. It also hurts the possibility that more people may enter the market to provide this service. The sunset suggests that the state isn't committed to this lending and discourages current pilot lenders and prospective pilot lenders from investing in people and locations that are necessary to make the loans. So it is time to make this product permanent. Doing so will show our confidence in this type of lending. It will lead to expansion by other lenders and more competition in the marketplace. More companies getting involved in this important market space will benefit Californians of modest means who desperately need this product. We have two witnesses that are here to testify on this bill. Raul Vasquez from Opportune and Michael Zaragoza with the Latin Business Association.
Very good. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Who wants to start?
I'll go first.
All righty.
Madam Chair and members, thank you for the opportunity to talk about SB 984. My name is Raul Vasquez, and I am the CEO of Opportune. We are a mission-driven organization and the leading pilot lender. We've provided over $750 million in responsible credit-building pilot loans. We have over 750 California employees, and we have served nearly 600,000 California borrowers. We are the sponsor of SB 984, and we ask for your support in making the pilot program permanent. We believe this is critical to its long-term success and growth. The support for SB 984 is broad and diverse. It includes consumer groups, nonprofits, labor, current pilot lenders, and most importantly, another lender that would like to join the pilot. It is a strong coalition of support for the program, which has already been before the California Senate legislature in 3 previously passed bills originated in the Senate. Over 20 organizations filed letters of support because pilot lending is the best lending that is available to underserved communities and people with little or no credit. There are only 2 organizations that are in fact related to each other that oppose the bill and make a couple of claims relative to SB 984 that are not accurate. I will start by addressing the claim that the extension of the pilot does no harm. Responsible small dollar lending is very hard, it's not particularly profitable, and it's not very prevalent, as you know, in the state. To do it successfully, a company must have confidence that it will have time to scale and therefore become profitable. It takes more than a few years to achieve that scale. And I know that because it took Opportune 9 years to have 1 profitable year, and our cumulative losses to date are over $100 million. An extension of the
Why are you still here?
We're here because we believe in the mission and because we have achieved sufficient scale now to
So that you are going to
first
start seeing
profit.
some profit.
That's correct.
All right, very
That's
good.
correct.
Thank you.
An extension of the pilot will not provide the time and certainty that a new lender, however, to your question, would need to make investments that are necessary to become profitable. There's a firm that has filed a letter of support. Their name is Capital Good Fund, and they're a perfect example of a company that is on the sidelines because the state has not provided certainty that enough time will be available for them to be able to make their small dollar lending in California profitable.
Thank you very much. Next witness.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members. Michael Zaragoza on behalf of the Latin Business Association, also the California Urban Partnership I'm representing today as well. We're here today because we think this bill really brings together 2 great things. It allows, making this program permanent allows for more business to participate in this program, but it also brings together some of the most progressive consumer group approved best practices for the underserved community. And you might say, why, we're working on the consumer side as well. LBA really represents itself as being a different business group. Yes, we want to make sure business prosper, but we also want to make sure that the consumers are taken care of. I know we work with you, Madam Chair, on your consumer car safety bill, and we kind of feel like this is in the same vein of making sure that those that need the protections and that need the ability to borrow have those protections in place and have a program that's able to help them. And so SB 984, I believe, accomplishes both of those aspects. And again, I just want to also echo we know that if this pilot is made permanent, we'll see more people enter into this business. And we think that's a good business deal. We also think that's good for the consumers. The more people that are in the program, the more competition there is for their business, the better rates, and then the more ability they have to look at different choices. So with those two things, we believe this is a great program. We've seen the monies that have gone out. We've certainly seen some of our members benefit from this, as well as their family members, and we urge your support today.
Thank you very much. Other witnesses in support, if you just give your name and affiliation. Those in support?
Good afternoon. Delini Lankachandra, Brightline Defense, strong support. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Louis Brown Jr. On behalf of PolicyLink and the Green Lighting Institute, we strongly support.
Thank you. Any other witnesses in support? All right, before we go any further, we have a quorum, and so, or we were going to establish a quorum. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Jackson?
Here.
Jackson here. Morlock? Anderson? Hertzberg? Leno? Here. Leno here. Monning? Here. Monning here. Wojciechowski? Here. Wojciechowski here.
All right, and why don't we go ahead? We have a consent calendar. Let's get that taken care of. A motion is made by Senator Leno. Please call the members.
Jackson?
Aye.
Jackson, aye. Morlock? Anderson? Hertzberg? Leno? Aye. Leno, aye. Monning? Aye. Monning, aye. Wojciechowski? Aye. Wojciechowski, aye.
All right, we will hold the roll open for absent members. Anyone else in support of this particular bill? Opposition to this bill, if they would step forward. 2 people to speak, 2 minutes each. Please step forward. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Madam Chair, good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is James Gutierrez. I am the CEO of a company called InSeek. We're a small, tiny startup based in San Francisco. What we do is we're a pilot program lender, and we help banks, money transfer companies, and other regulated financial institutions offer pilot program loans. So think all the years that we've been trying to get banks to make these loans to low-income people. They use our software, our platform, and now you can walk into a bank branch and you can get a pilot program loan. Instead of the bank saying no, they can say yes. So that's something that we've been working on. We're still like 0.01% of this market, but we hope to grow and be bigger. I founded, prior to this, I founded Opportune, and I'm still the largest individual shareholder of Opportune. I was also had the great fortune working with Senator Flores to be the founding sponsor of the pilot program, and I'm so grateful that so many people are so supportive of the program. When we did that in 2010, it was based on 2 pillars. One pillar was we wanted to create a program that would be an alternative to payday, would be good for consumers, and I think the data shows, just off one report, that so far we're doing well on that path. The second pillar, and this was very important to a lot of members at the time, was that we created a robust market. We wanted to have competition, we wanted to drive down prices, and we also wanted a robust market so we could take on the payday lending industry, because this is still very small relative to them. So I would say with respect to goal number 1, we've made some great progress, but with respect to a robust market, we're 0.01%. We have one company that's 99.9%, which is a monopoly player in the market. So we have not achieved that. We're all fighting for the same thing, which is being an alternative to payday, but the second pillar of the original bill has not been complete. So we think it's too early to do a victory lap and say we're done with the pilot program. We instead would favor an extension of the program and make it a long extension. We believe an extension is a very strong vote that you would make in support of the pilot program. And regarding the concern that companies would not invest while there's a sunset, I founded Opportune, and I remember before we didn't even have the pilot program, and I had raised over $75 million for the company to build this opportunity without knowing that one day we could actually try and change California law. At InSeek, we raised $50 million. I know LendUp, which is a pilot program lender, announced 5 months ago $120 million. So in abstract, it sounds like a good argument, but it's not supported by the facts. Just to finish off, from the perspective of a small company, it's 0.01% of the market, success is not, hey, you can get a pilot program loan provided it's only at Walmart stores. Success is you can walk into any bank branch, you can go into any money transfer company, and you can get a pilot program loan. That's a robust market.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next witness, please.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. My name is Samuel Yoa. I grew up just north of here in a small community called Colusa County. It's a small agricultural community where I grew up working alongside my father, working in the fields. I share this story because I experienced firsthand the hardships that our community undergoes by not having access to affordable credit and financial services in general. This is the main reason I decided to attend Stanford Business School. I wanted to build an organization that made a difference. It made a difference specifically in the underbanked community, specifically the large Hispanic community. With that intention, we founded a company called Listo. Listo, basically in Spanish, means smart and ready. The mission of the company is to provide life-changing financial services to the Latino market in a highly transparent and aspirational way. Today, we offer small dollar loans via the partnership with INSEEC to our community that helps them build credit responsibly. We also offer them insurance to help protect them against unexpected setbacks. Finally, we plan to empower our community by allowing them to invest in the things they care most about, such as sending mijo and mija to college. In addition to helping them retire honorably with a retirement plan, which many of our members of our community lack today. Today, we operate at a one store located in the heart of East San Jose. We have designed an Apple-like store that offers a unique experience like no other. It's a store that's been developed to embrace transparency and education at every opportunity. Today, we offer responsible loans as a lender and a finder under the pilot program. As I mentioned before, we leverage INSEEC's platform. To get into market, which has helped us tremendously as a startup and allowed us to get out to market very efficiently without having to raise a lot of capital and do it very effectively. And as a result, we've helped a lot of folks. I just wanted to underline one other point. This is new. There's still a lot of learnings. And today, the loans that we've issued are less than 0.1% of the pilot program loans. So there's still a lot to learn. The goal of the pilot programs are not complete. Thus, I strongly believe that a vote in favor of extending the pilot program is a vote in favor of the pilot program. We need to see a robust market develop to obtain more data that I really believe will ensure the goals of the program are accomplished. And I strongly believe that we're not there yet. I respectfully thank you for your time and consideration.
Are there any other witnesses in opposition to this bill? All right, seeing and hearing none, we'll bring it to the committee. I just want to note, first of all, thank you. Find competition that's more fair and reasonable to people, and it's an issue I've been involved in for quite some time. And so having these pilots where the amount that is the maximum limit is far more reasonable, I think is critically important. What I hear the debate is whether or not by lifting the time frame and removing the sunset, if you will, and allowing these loans to continue without any ceiling, without any sunset, we are either helping the industry or hurting the industry. That seems to be the question. So I would like Senator Hueso, as the author of the bill, could you address the question or your belief that this will help the industry grow rather than limit the industry from growth, as the opposition says? I mean, it's a clear question, is it's either black or white. So we're not talking about subtlety here. We're talking about whether this is good for this industry or bad for this industry.
You know, one of the reasons I agree to take on this bill, I've been following this program since its inception, and 3 years ago, we entertained some amendments to this program as well. So I'm familiar with the policy aspects of this program. I believe a sunset would be a huge mistake. Initially, when this program was envisioned, it was envisioned without a sunset. And that went through a process of getting approval from the legislature. That was added later as an amendment to the bill that would create an agreement that a sunset would be in place to find out how this program operates, how it would affect the community at large. We have enough data now to suggest that this program is a practicable program as it's being applied with the safeguards it has. No other program has an educational element attached to it in which the consumers that are seeking loans are required to go through an educational program. We have letters from different banking interests that would come to the California market and invest in this program and offer these services to the community should that expiration date be lifted. That to us suggests that this lifting that sunset date will inject competition into this program. It would create more access and more investment into this program. That's why I'm pushing this. It's been a hugely successful program. We need more competition. We need different programs to come in and offer different ways to access the public. Opportune has one business model. The gentleman before you here have a different business model. I don't want one business model to dictate the market. We need to allow for competition and creativity and different ways to access the market. And by lifting the pilot, we will be, by lifting the expiration date, we will be doing that. And by doing that, we will be allowing for competition in the market. By not doing that, we're going to hold this program hostage and keep out the competition so that different people within this businessman can dominate the market for the next 5 years. I'm not interested in supporting that.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the opposition to respond. So specifically, the position of the senator is that by removing the expiration date, it will encourage competition. I assume it's your position that it will hamper competition. And could you explain why you believe that to be the case?
Sure, absolutely. So we're not Mexico. You know, it's not one family, one company that controls the market. That's what we have now. That's what the data shows. The pillar of this original program, one of the parts was to show that there's a market that we're building. So the data by itself already shows that we don't have an industry here. And we believe that if you extend the pilot program, you create more opportunities for learning so that the new entrants can contribute all together into, hey, what are the things that the program is still missing that we want to add to create more of a market? This is about all of us creating a robust market because we're still only 4 or 5% of the payday industry. The goal of this was to create a market where it's large. Right now, if you ask Californians, where can you go to get a pilot program loan? This is not, hey, it's okay to get the loan provided you only get it at one company, you only get it at Walmart, and that's how we want to run the business. Let's just trust them to make the decisions. This is about having a robust market, and we're not there yet. So we still think if you vote in favor of an extension, you're saying, this is awesome program. We agree with everything we're doing as a payday alternative. Let's make it 5, 10, however many years. But we haven't achieved the goal of an industry.
So why is it that you think, or why is it that one company is predominating in the industry?
So I think actually the CEO of Opportune today made a good point, which he said it's all about scale. There's one company that has scale. It takes scale to build profitability in small dollar loans because it's very difficult to make money. Here's the reality. You know, everyone else in the industry tells you we need to charge 400% to make loans, to make money on small loans. When I founded Opportune, I didn't believe that was the case. I believe we can figure this out at 36%, but it requires scale. And so until you allow an opportunity for the new entrants to build scale and have time and work through their models, you're never really going to have an industry except for one player that's 99% of the market. They have the benefit because now they have scale, and scale drives profitability. Just one other example, our cost of borrowing is 12%.
Thank you. So the last question I have is, why is lifting the sunset going to affect the whole issue of scale?
Because, well, so in our case, we have a model which is just still a new part of the pilot program that was in its original form in 2010, but has only been put to use since 2015, okay? And that's the finder program. We have Listo is a finder. There's banks that are finders. This is still a new part of the program, and so we want more data to support. We think, for example, right now we're limited in the Finder program to only partner with financial institutions. What if Kmart comes to us and says, you know what, we're already providing life insurance to people in our stores. We want to make a dent in this unbanked problem. We want to help people get a pilot program loans. We can't do that today. And so we believe that we should all get together as an industry and say, look, here's the perspective of the startups, here's this perspective of the large companies, and here's some changes that we think should be made to the program to make it more successful.
Thank you. Any questions from other members? Senator Leno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm a big fan of this pilot, and in fact, if you're making amendments to the bill, I would like to be added as a co-author. And if I missed the nuance of your comments, I apologize, but are you suggesting that if, rather than repeal the sunset, it were extended for 5 or 10 years, you would remove your opposition to the bill?
Absolutely. Yeah, we love the pilot program. We kind of created the pilot program, so we're huge supporters. It's a great set of policy that all of you created, and we thank you for that.
Right. So I can't determine unequivocally the stronger argument for whether repealing the sunset does expand and open to competition, just as the chair was trying to pinpoint, or not. But that said, you'll continue to participate in the marketplace, correct? Should the sunset be repealed?
We would, because the program would be a permanent program. We would continue to participate. We would be worried about our ability to use data to show further learning that goes back to the principle of the program, which was to create a robust market. And frankly, we would be left in a market that looks like Mexico, where you've got one family and one company dominating everything that happens in the market. And, you know, we're California. We infuse technology. We infuse innovation. We're in San Francisco. That's, I think, good policy. And so if that was one of the pillars, the data shows we're not done yet. I think there's great data that shows good policy for consumers. We need the second part.
Okay. And just a final comment, not to continue the debate. I had trouble buying the argument that by extending the sunset rather than repealing it, that this is going to have the effect that you are concerned about. But I do just want to help clarify for you, sure, even without a sunset, you and everybody else who can offer some expertise in this conversation has the opportunity at any time in the years going forward to offer amendments, to offer suggestions, to improve upon it. You don't need that sunset out there to do just that. So should this pass and become law, I don't want to discourage you, because I think you're a great addition to the marketplace, and that as more data is collected in the years to come, if you've learned something that the rest of us have missed, please come forward. Any number of us who may still be here would like to author a bill for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Leno.
And I move the bill.
All right, very good. We have a motion. Senator Morlock, a quick question or two?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Because I missed part of the discussion, this is a pilot program. So, Senator, is a report required to be sent to the legislature on how the pilot program is doing?
There is a report that the Department of Business Oversight is creating, yes. And this bill is not affected by that at all. It would be, that information would be very useful to the Department of Business Oversight in providing regulatory oversight, and to the legislature as well for future years. And having information out there, I think, is critical to the success of this program and critical to protecting consumers. So our bill is supportive of that report.
But has the report been prepared?
It's being prepared.
It's being prepared, so we haven't seen it. Will it be done before this bill goes to the floor?
It'll probably be done this year. But again, that report is useful in providing information to the legislature. I don't think the pilot itself has, and its extension or its continued operation has really anything to do with that report. I think they're separate, they're in support of each other, and it doesn't necessarily, I don't think it should hamper this program moving forward.
Okay, so I'm a little new here. So we do a pilot program, we want to get a report, and then we vote on it. But you're saying we'll vote on it, extend it, or remove the sunset. So why do we need to prepare a report? Why don't we just tell the staff to abort?
Oh, these reports are ongoing. They're not going to end, and that report is not contingent on this program. We had a report already last year that provided, the reason I have these amazing statistics is because those statistics were provided by the Department of Business Oversight. They're providing us data that suggests that this has been a hugely successful program. Now, I have other arguments about why we have to lift that sunset date, and I'll make those on my closing comments, or I can answer anything you have right now, should you want to know.
I am done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And by the way, you've been here long enough, that argument's getting old.
Well, no.
Just saying, I'm just saying.
No,
All
every
right.
once in a while I'm pulling it out. I'm sorry.
Senator Hueso, you may close.
You know, saying that this is a one-family program is an argument why we need to lift the sunset. We have a sunset right now. We have a one business-dominated industry, and we need competition. That's why we do need to lift that cap. That will eliminate one business dominating the industry. We have plenty of letters of companies saying we will come into California and potentially do it better, or invest more money in lending. And really, that's what California needs. We need more investments in offering a competitive product to our constituents. We need more of those locations throughout the state, because they're helping people get access to cheaper credit that helps them with their credit. So we need to support this program's existence, and I think by expressing our support for it, it'll accomplish just that. I respectfully ask for your support today.
Thank you, Senator Hueso. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to Senate Appropriations. Jackson?
Aye.
Jackson, aye. Morlock? Aye. Morlock, aye. Anderson? Hertzberg? Aye. Hertzberg, aye. Leno?
Aye.
Leno, aye. Monning? Aye. Monning, aye. Wachowski? Aye. Wachowski, aye.
That bill has 6 votes. It's out. We will hold the roll open for the absent member. Thank you, Senator Hueso, and thank you, gentlemen, for your testimony.